there, and welcome to the Wellbeing Training Academy. My name's Abby Twomlow, psychologist, anxiety specialist, and wellbeing trainer.
Hello, and I'm Andrew Farquharson, and I'm all that Abby is, but she's more than me.
Don't downplay yourself, Andrew. Anyway, this September we are looking at self-esteem in the workplace, and this episode in particular, we are looking at confidence. Because confidence isn't something that you're born with, is it? Lots of people think that confidence is a set in stone thing, or self-esteem is a set in stone thing, or part of your personality, or something that is fixed. But actually, confidence and self-esteem are both things that you can build, and they're built day to day, moment by moment. And in the workplace, it's really important because confidence and self-esteem make a massive difference in a workplace, to performance, to how people communicate, and to well-being, and ultimately the success of a business.
That's right. But I just want to emphasize something that you mentioned that's very important that a lot of people don't realize. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It is something that develops, and you can develop it. You can build in it brick by brick, month by month, week by week, whatever. If you think you're not very confident at the moment, it doesn't mean you're always going to be like that all the time. Yes, it is very important in the workplace because if you're not confident, then it has an effect on things like communication, like we talked about in the last podcast. It can stop ideas and innovation, and you just feel bad about yourself. You just feel low, depressed, worried, all sorts of things like that. That also then can, especially if you're a leader or a manager, it can spread and it
Mhm.
becomes part of the work ethos, the ethos of the whole workplace. So it's really important to have a sense of confidence.
I
And
think it's important to say as well, like it's not on a trajectory, is it? It's not something that stays the same. You can have confidence and good self-esteem sometimes and not at others. So it's quite a changeable thing. It's not
yeah,
a linear thing is probably the best way to put it. People think that it just stays the same all the time. If somebody's got low self-esteem or low confidence, then that's a permanent thing. But actually, it changes all the time. If you ask somebody how confident or how good they feel about themselves when they're lying on a beach somewhere lovely with a cocktail in their hand, they're probably going to feel great. Whereas, you know, somebody that's been asked to go into a meeting with their boss
mm,
um, might be feeling really not very confident, and they're actually dreading conversations, or a leader having to have a difficult conversation and that feeling of dread because they don't feel confident. Um, and those little moments add up, but they are changeable, but they can either top you up or they can sort of drain your confidence as well. It's almost like a rechargeable battery, isn't it? It can be boosted and drained, and it's up and
yeah,
down all the time,
yeah.
depending on those moments.
Yeah, and things like if you're not feeling too well, if you've not slept, that can affect your confidence and so on. The other thing to remember when we're talking about confidence, yes, it's not an innate trait. It is something that we can work on and we can build up to a general level. But we also need to remember we're human beings. We're not machines.
Mhm.
So, like you said, it's not going to be the same all the time. It's going to fluctuate. When we are going into a slightly stressful situation, such as I wonder what the boss wants to talk to me about type of situation, we will feel a little bit anxious. But if we have an underlying sense of confidence, that will reduce the anxiety, which means we feel better, and we're much more able to cope with that. But do you have any practical things that we can do?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of things that you can do to boost confidence and self-esteem. And I think actually it's down to practice, isn't it? It's not about changing it overnight. It's the way that you are in your day to day. And we talk about this quite a lot because having good confidence and self-esteem is a skill set. It's something that you do. It's an active process. So one thing that I always encourage people to do is celebrate the small positives. There's so much that happens in our day that your brain just doesn't notice or we just brush off as not important. But then every tiny little thing we can focus on going wrong or not going well. So we're really good at honing on the little negatives and
Yeah.
using those to build us up feeling terrible or not good enough. We need to kind of swap that filter around and start noticing all the small positives. So encourage staff and do it yourself if you're a leader to notice and share some daily achievements. And it doesn't have to be anything massive. And this is really important because it's about progress, not perfectionism. It's about it's about boosting that self-belief of your team. Even if it's a tiny little thing, like actually I had the customer shouting at me today, but I handled it really well. I stayed calm and or I got that job that's been sat on my to-do list for 3 weeks. I finally got it done today. They're not massive things, but they all build up to that better feeling. And you can celebrate those as a team. It doesn't have to be a massive star of the week type thing. It's just about encouraging your team to see that things are going well rather than just looking at the day as been a disaster.
Yeah. Don't get me started on perfectionism.
That's a whole different podcast for a whole
Oh, I
different
know,
day.
because we'll be here for hours. But just to say, perfectionism is one of the biggest inhibitors for actually doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say. Otherwise, I'll
We could
go.
both get on a soapbox about that, but today's not the day.
Okay. Even if in a team meeting, people just say something that went well, they did, as you say, just the small things. And I suppose you could equate it to a painting. Traditional paintings are put together with brushstrokes. And if you just sort of see one brushstroke on a canvas, it doesn't look like anything. But when you put all those brushstrokes together, it comes out with a wonderful portrait, a wonderful picture. So it's the same thing here. You put all those small things together and it adds up, it builds up, it goes into your confidence bank. Yeah, so all those small little things.
And it's not about sort of being happy clappy and everybody clapping each other on the back because that's kind of cringeworthy for a lot of people. That's not what this is about. It's
Yeah,
not about sort of making a big thing over these little things. It's just about the daily conversations. You know, have you had a good morning? What's gone well this morning? It doesn't
yeah,
have to be a big hoo-ha, does it?
no,
But actually, it helps, and this is my second point really, it helps staff to identify and use their personal strengths.
yeah,
Um, because if you're looking at their positives and they're starting to recognize those, then that will help them to recognize their key strengths as well. And when people feel like they've got those strengths to lean into, their confidence grows even more then. So it accumulates, doesn't it? Like you say, a bit like the brushstroke, it's something that builds and builds. So um that's another thing, and that's something again that can just be brought up in really in day-to-day conversation. Well, I'm not surprised that went well for you because you're really good at this.
yeah,
Or, it's just about those that language that you use all the time.
yeah, that's right. And again, to reiterate what one of the things I said last time is that when we're talking, somebody asks you about a project that you've been involved in, and you say, what went right and what went wrong? You'll start to focus in on the what went wrong aspect of it. So think of the language that's used, what went right and what could be done better. And that sort of builds because you're doing something and you can look at the positives that come out of that. Yeah, you could call it strength spotting.
And that side of it's almost that reframing as well, isn't it? I talk to my little boy quite often about changing his specs. Um, because he's got a book called the Sunshine Specs or something like that. And it's sort of changing the way that you look at things instead of saying, "Oh, I can't," to, "Well, I can't do that yet," or I'm still learning how to do that," or "I'll give it a go." So rather than just that instant negative response, just changing that shift slightly and not over positively again, but well, I'm trying my best, or I'll give it a go, or I'm working hard at something because that language that you use, and not just the stuff that comes out of your mouth, that language that's going on in your head, that inner voice, is shaping your beliefs as well. It's shaping how you feel about yourself. It's shaping those beliefs you have about yourself and how capable you are and how good your coping skills are. So again, as a leader, this is something that you can encourage your team to reframe things. Ask how, I don't give an example that you've had as a leader. How could you have thought about it differently? Challenge your team to give you feedback on that. Because also that shows that you're not perfect as well and that you are a team.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So you only have to do that for a couple of weeks for you to start doing it automatically. And that's a really, really helpful thing.
Yeah. And it also develops the creativity of the team because you have lots of ideas that sort of pop up and can chat and develop them or not, as the case may be. But it's just um, encourages and helps to gel the team, which
Yeah.
ultimately will be much more productive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
So I suppose if you've got a pen and paper to hand, this might be quite an interesting thing for you to have a think about now. And you can do it yourself, or you can get your staff to have a go at this. But write down three small positives from this week so far. And actually, they don't even need to be work-based. They can be from home as well. Broaden it out a bit. It might be that you've, like I say, you've ticked off a job that's been on your to-do list for ages. It might be that you've stayed calm over something. It might be that you've met up with a friend outside of work, or you've, whatever it is, write down three small positives from this week.
And when you've done that, you might want to identify one of them that you want to carry forward with or work with it and think about how it can work in other areas. You can do that every day. You can do it every week, but it just builds up. It goes into that confidence bank that you're doing all those things.
Yeah. And the other thing you can use that list for, if you've got those positive moments down, you can have a look at that and help it use that to help you to identify a personal strength that you used in those moments. Was it staying calm? Was it resilience? Was it courage? What strength did it show from you? What does it teach you about yourself? And where else can you use that strength to boost your confidence? Can you apply it
Mhm.
anywhere else in your day or your week? Because that's a powerful tool and it teaches you something about yourself as well, doesn't it?
And I've just thought of another thing to help people build their confidence, a little thing. Be prepared. Because most of the time we might know that we've got a presentation coming up or we've got to just practice it a bit. Because if we practice something, then it feels that we are starting to get in control of it. It doesn't mean learning something by heart or by memorizing something. It just means that we feel more confident. And also, as we sort of look at it, practice whatever it might be, or even just think about it beforehand, it enables us then to sort of work with anything that pops up. It's actually quite a big thing. Most people forget about confidence coming from, I suppose, being prepared for things in certain areas. But then you might say, oh, well, we can't be prepared for everything. But actually, being prepared for the things you can be prepared for has a spin-off because then it just builds that general internal level of confidence that you think, well, actually, I can cope with anything that comes along. I don't have to go, oh no, I can't do that, like you mentioned earlier.
I suppose there's a bit of a caveat to that though. I'd like to sort of say practice it, but practice it going well because some people spend so long fretting about it and reading over it and building anxiety about it and imagining it going wrong and people judging them that actually they create quite a big panic about it. So psychologically speaking, your brain doesn't know the difference between real life and what you imagine to happen. So if you spend time planning it going well, yes, you can't plan all the questions that people are going to ask or, the projector not working and things like that. You can't plan all the things that could go wrong. So don't try. Plan it going really well, and any hiccups that come along, plan you staying calm about them. Plan it going smoothly, because that will make you feel better, and it will also trick your brain into thinking that you've already done it and done it well, so that when you do it, it's much easier. So I suppose that's just something to add in there.
No, it's a very good point, and that sort of brought to mind something that I've said to people before is if you're in a presentation or some sort of situation that somebody's asking you a question and you don't know what the answer to that is, being confident is not trying to blag your way through it. It's just say, actually, I don't know that, but what I can do is I'll find out and I can bring it back or something like that. That shows real confidence.
Yeah, make sure you follow it through. So I suppose really what we're saying today is that confidence is not about being perfect, is it? It's about practicing. It's
Mhm.
about practicing and practicing in the right way, not panicking. Panicking and practicing are not the same because when teams build that confidence together and they work together at it, they unlock a whole lot of skills, don't they? That resilience, that creativity, productivity, motivation, and the benefits that that then has on a business are absolutely huge.
Yeah, they are. And we could go on about all the sort of interactive skills and the boost of productivity, which ultimately leads to more profit, etc., etc. This also has an effect on the individual. It boosts your general well-being. It just makes you feel better about yourself. Confidence also, though, is not being arrogant. Some people think, oh, they have to be quite brash and loud and so on to be confident. That's also a sure sign that you're not very confident.
Yeah, it's almost overcompensating, isn't it? People that are quite loud and arrogant and brash
Mm.
do that because they need other people to bolster their confidence for them. They need a response of some way to sort of top that battery up, if you like, because they're not able to do that themselves. So, like you say, quite often when people are behaving like that, it's quite a clear sign of low self-esteem, really.
Mhm.
Um, and this is why we do so many workshops and training events on self-esteem and confidence, isn't it? I mean, we work with businesses on a long-term scale, but this is something that we focus on quite a bit really in our workshops and training and confidence boosting. So if that's something that you'd be interested in for you as a leader on how to improve that or for your team, then as always, get in touch, head to the website, wellbeingtrainingacademy.com, because we really would love to support you. We love seeing a confidence growing within a business and the outcomes of that. There's nothing that makes us happier. So it's why we set up and do what we do.
Yeah,
But I think, have you got anything to add to that?
I don't think I can add anything more at the moment. Well, I could add tons, but I think that's a great place just to finish this short introduction to these things. And as Abby says, please get in touch, even if you've got what might seem the daftest question. If you've got a question, it's really important. So please get in touch with us. We'll see how we can help you. Anyway, I'll say goodbye.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time. Bye.